Hi, this is Coach Joe Lukacs, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. You know, we're getting very, very close to the end of 2019, getting ready to turn the page, not just to a new year, but also a new decade. And what I thought I'd do in this episode is really talk about how advisors sabotage not just their success, but their growth by framing what they do not as a game, but almost life or death. And let me explain what I mean by that. A lot of advisors that I run across, look, what we do is important work. It's serious business. However, if your concept in getting up in the morning is to get through the day, check the boxes, so to speak, survive to fight another day, and that's your mindset, your framework, then that's exactly what you do. The other thing that I've noticed is I think a lot of advisors have issues with wealth. And what I mean by that is their own wealth. I think that at a certain point, when you get into that comfort zone, when all your bills are being paid and you got plus or minus, you kind of get into that zone, you give yourself a rationale not to improve. And where it manifests itself is you start sabotaging, you stop asking for referrals, you stop doing your morning success ritual, you stop doing your business planning, you stop reading or reviewing your business plan, and you go into the concept of maintaining things. The problem with that concept is that there's no such thing as stasis. So in other words, there's no such thing as just staying where we're at. We're either getting richer, we're getting poorer, we're getting healthier or unhealthier, and all of us are getting older. So there's no such thing as staying still. And if your concept and goal is to just be comfortable, inevitably you end up uncomfortable because you lower your standards. So what we want to do, what we want to be, is about expansion. Always being better. Now, some of you don't need more money. Like you live below your means, you're good savers, and that's great. The problem with that is you don't challenge yourself to do anything else. So what I've always recommended to my clients is that when I've got many clients who, quite frankly, are very good stewards of their own capital, is that we've got to create a second game. And normally that game is about service to others, charitable contributions. I've got more than 10 clients who have created their own foundations to give back to whatever is important to them. Religious organizations, social organizations, animal rescue, whatever it happens to be. And that becomes their compelling reason to continue to grow. Remember, grow or die. And if you're going into 2020 thinking about maintenance, that is a very bad thing because, it will make you lower your standards. So I want to get back to the wealth piece. So, as I said a few minutes ago, I think a lot of advisors have issues with making a lot of money. And I know that sounds kind of weird. Like, no, Joe, I don't have an issue with making money. Let me make it, and I'll show you how happy I am. Consciously, yes. The problem is we're not talking about your conscious. We're talking about your subconscious. We're talking about that voice that asks the question, am I worth it? Do I deserve it? And in lies the problem. Many advisors have never given themselves permission to have it all. And let me be very clear on this. This is the only profession, and you can challenge me. And look, if you want to write me and say, well, this one does this and stuff like that, I'll listen. But in my 26 years, show me another profession where you could have as much economic abundance as you want. So in other words, there's no cap on your income. You have a lot of freedom, flexibility in growing or creating the business the way you want, right? And I know some of you sit there and say, well, that's not true. Look at compliance, my firm. Hey, compared to doctors who deal with insurance companies and managed care, lawyers who have to deal with competition, CPAs who have to deal with the reduction of fees, you look at any other professional out there, you can make as much money, do it with a lot of freedom and autonomy, never have a retirement date, so do it for as long as you like, right? And you get to do it on your terms with freedom and flexibility. Freedom in terms of weeks off, lifestyle practice, flexibility where you need to do it. I mean, with technology today, if you're up north and you say, hey, you know what? I don't like being here anymore. It's cold in the winter. I'm going to go move to a warmer state. You can still have your business somewhere you're located. I've got clients who have done that. Doctors really can't do that. Lawyers have a challenge doing that. CPAs have a problem. Dentists, name it, right? We have the best gig out there. The problem is that a lot of you treat this as a job, and it is not a job. It's an opportunity. It's a platform. It's a vehicle or mechanism for you to design what you want in life, period. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I had about 90 clients in Fort Lauderdale for our Magellan Strategic Planning Conference, our 2020 conference. And one of the comments I made was that a lot of you in this room are squandering the opportunity that you have because you're not viewing it properly. A, you view it as a job. B, you're uninspired, you're burnt out. C, you have no clear vision. And that's a shame. So what we did for 3 days, we literally worked on all those things, right? We went from mindset to vision to rituals to energy. We put it all together. And now we've got people excited about the future, on mission, on task to get things done, which is paramount to what we need to do, what you need to do. Remember, there are 3 conditions all advisors have. We all start off in scarcity, right? You start your career, it's like, I don't have 2 nickels to rub together. I don't know if I'm going to make it. First 3 to 5 years, you grind it out. You get into what we call abundance / sustainability, comfort zone, right? Where you're paying your bills, you're saving some money, you're reinvesting back in yourself. You validated the fact you belong, right? And that's anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And then a lot of advisors now stay there for the rest of their career and they're missing out. You know, if you're watching or listening to me and your goal is and think about this, are you doing needs-based planning or wants-based planning? And let me explain. A needs-based plan looks like this. How much money do I need to make to live my life? Then that becomes your goal plus 10 or 20%, right? So I need $20,000 a month to live. So I need to top line my business at 30,000. So that's what I expect. So therefore I get. Now, what would happen if you did wants-based planning, where you sat down either by yourself or with your significant other and you asked the question, what is it I truly want, or what is it we truly want? From bucket list to lifestyle, to contribution, to giving back, to really thinking about not just ourselves, but the service of others, legacy. That conversation takes you from scarcity, abundance, right? Sustainability. It now takes you into prosperity. And when we're in prosperity, the game changes. And you'll always hear me talk about the term the game. I gamify things to my clients. We play a game, right? Business is a game. And why do I say business is a game? Because if you don't make it a game, you're afraid to lose. Everybody loses. When you play a game, you don't win every game. Take any sport, any discipline, nobody goes their entire career undefeated. People lose. And I know some of you sit there and say, yeah, but there's a couple of boxers. Yeah, they lost rounds. They didn't win. They won the fight, but they didn't win every round. So in essence, they lost. Losing is as much a part of winning as winning is. The problem is most of you are afraid to lose. You think there's something wrong with that. And I'm telling you right now, your success is built on failure. Now, what do I mean by failure? Not getting a prospect to say yes. Not getting a referral every time you ask. Not getting people's outside money all the time. Not getting the right hire in the seat because they took a different offer. If you think about it, just on a very granular level, failure has to happen every day. When you remind people that you're open for business, you get a name every time. No. When you go ahead and execute something, reaching out to a CPA, a center of influence or whatever, do you always get a meeting? No. If you're doing any kind of content, right? Podcast, video blog, newsletter, whatever, does everybody open what you send? No. If you're doing workshops, does everybody you invite show up? Not even close. When you do a client event, do all your clients show up, and do they bring guests? No. Failure is the root of success in our business. But yet, how many of you have an issue with that? You know, I've said for many years, I fail more than most people. You know why? I try more things than most people. I'm always out there tinkering. You know, I have a saying in my mind that, hey, I never let moss grow under my feet. In other words, I don't stand still and rest on my laurel. You know, a lot of my colleagues have been regurgitating the same old stuff for 20 years. Never innovating, never come up with anything new. And I guess that's okay. I find that highly boring. If I'm not moving things forward, if I'm not creating something new, I get bored. Because I like to challenge myself. And I'm okay if things fail. Remember, the rule that I have for failure is this: I only truly fail if A, I don't learn something, and B, my family's on the curb, right? That's massive failure to me. Otherwise, it does not exist for me. What is your definition of failure? Is it as simple as not accomplishing my goals? I will tell you right now, that's the way you frame it to yourself, you'll never go for things. You'll always play it safe. You'll never stretch yourself out. And you'll miss out on opportunities. The biggest fear that I have, when I look back at my career, and God willing, I'll do this for another 20, 25 years, is when I look back in the rocking chair, I look back at my life and what I've accomplished and my legacy, my impact, my imprint on this industry. My biggest fear is that I've not done enough, that I've not changed enough lives, that I've not changed enough trajectories of people. That will be failure to me. And quite frankly, between you and I, that scares the crap out of me. That's my driver. You know, a lot of people think, oh, Joe, you're this coach, you must be this super positive person. No, I'm a realist. I speak the truth. We're all flawed human beings. But that rocking chair scares me. And that's one of my visualizations every morning, which is in essence a negative visualization, right? Because you get up, you say, well, how about if I don't get this all done? And that's what drives me. And I want you to think about what drives you. See, in our careers, and mine too, when I started as a coach, I started out like a coach in the early 90s. There was no such thing. I mean, my career started when I left the Robbins organization, went back to my clients in downtown Lower Manhattan, and literally handed them a blank invoice and said, I will give you an hour of my time. You tell me what you think it's worth to you. And some people were very gracious. Some people handed me $5. Because let's face it, not everybody's nice in this industry. But you know what? I never quit. I learned, I failed, I learned, I failed. I kept getting off the canvas, the mat, getting and taking more hits, but I kept moving it. I kept going forward. Like Rocky says. That's the secret. So many of you play the game so close that you're not willing to go for it because you're afraid. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of being uncomfortable. You're afraid of what it's going to take. And you're robbing yourself of the victory. You're robbing yourself and your families of the opportunity. Just because you have issues with failure. You can look in the mirror, the man or woman, and I would challenge you to do that after you watch or listen to me. Go to the bathroom or go get your phone out or wherever you got the mirror and spend literally 1 to 2 minutes just looking at you. What do you see? What's the conversation? Are you proud of the way you operate, the effort that you bring? Or do you know you're a liar? You know you're an imposter? That you play the game, but you cheat it. Yes, you make some money. You provide for your family. Now, with that said, though, you know there's so much more. So here's my challenge to you as you wrap up. Number one, finish up 2019. Make sure you get some downtime. And then ask yourself what you need to do to really commit to having it all. What's it going to take for you to give yourself permission to have it all? Who do you need to become to have it all? That's my challenge for you. One last thing. If any of this message resonated with you, come spend 30 days with me inside Magellan Network. It costs you nothing, may not even be for you, may not be your cup of tea. But you know what? It's not going to cost you anything to find out. Until next time, this is Coach Joe Lucas saying, remember, every day that you make it uncomfortable for you is a day that you grow. See ya. So there you have it. If you really enjoyed watching this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the Magellan Network Show with Coach Joe here on YouTube. And remember, I'm always here to help you become a better entrepreneur, business owner, and financial advisor. With that, I'll see you next time on the Magellan Network Show with me, Coach Joe. Take care and goodbye.